could I just chip in that going back to Heather McTaggart and John Abbott's book that they wrote about 10 years ago, The Overschooled and Undereducated, they introduced this nice idea of responsible subversives. I think it's a really nice idea. And one of the things I suggested last time was to go away and imagine what would actually happen at the point of interaction between the FL kid declaring their FLness and the system, whether it be the class teacher of the first class they tried it, the assistant principal, whatever, what would actually happen? And I actually have been trying to do my own homework. I haven't done any writing on it, but I've just been trying it out on people. Imagine in a school, a kid decided to say this at the first point of interaction where school actually told them to do something they didn't particularly want to do. And they declared their FL status at that point. What would happen? And just thinking about this and talking it through, when I was sort of vice principal of a fairly big school, if a kid had come in and said that, I would have thought, wow, this is interesting. What can we do with this? I certainly wouldn't have excluded them. I'd want to talk to them about it and find some way of accommodating them. And then, of course, I might say, I'm going to have a chat with your parents to make sure you're with us on this idea. And then I'd have to have a chat with the union representative about how we're going to handle this as the teachers. But he would have, this FL kid, if I was either one of the first or very rapidly the second as the teacher he first tried it out on, sent him to me as vice principal, he would have found a responsible subversive quite quickly in his journey. And I think there's more responsible subversives around perhaps than Leo gives credit for. I mean, I don't want to claim to be any expert on the States, but I was thinking of that Port Washington, is he a school board director?
Superintendent.
Superintendent. Okay. Well, imagine he was in the school that day and the FL kid declared his FLness, and the first person he met was this superintendent. He'd have probably found he was talking to a responsible subversive who would have wanted to find some way to help him stake his claim without actually getting thrown out on his ear. I have no doubt that there are schools that would throw the kid out, would just send the kid home and summon the parents and say, if your kid behaves like this again, he's undermining the school discipline and he's going to be excluded. And there are many schools where the head teacher could probably manipulate the attitude of most parents to say, we can't have this kind of thing going on. It's hard enough to run a safe school without having to deal with these kind of people. And many parents would agree. But there are schools in England, certainly, that if I could probably, there's no more than a dozen maybe, secondary schools, where the kid would meet a responsible subversive quite quickly and probably would survive and be able, with the support of the parents and a group of kids and a group of parents who'd thought it through, come to some kind of deal with the school, which would be on the way to creating something like the 20% idea or the school within a school idea. So I don't think that the system is so monolithic and so full of ossified people. I think there are a few people in there who aren't like that, and they're the ones we've got to find.